Okay. Hi and Assalamualaikum to Dr. Rosli. So before we start, let me introduce my group members. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have five in a group, Admirol Haqimie, Anisa, Muhammad Fikri, and also Nick Masitah, and myself, Noor Diyana. Okay, next. Okay, so and we are going to present a few questions from the test paper that we have produced based on the 6 levels of Bloom taxonomy. The total of 50 MCQ questions have been created along with the sample of complete answer scheme. So for our test paper, we are focusing for the Form 5 students with 5 selected topics from the syllabus. And obviously, every test would need to have their objective as the indicators of why the students need to take this test throughout their learning. So here are the few lists of our objective for the test paper. So the first one is to select for the students to be able to select at least 25 out of 50 correct answers. So this is to test their understanding on certain selected topics after the learning process. Next is to let them explore at least 3 out of 6 levels of Bloom taxonomy by answering all of the questions. This is to give them exploration of understanding and answering different types of levels in questions in the test paper. And the third one is to let them identify their understanding on at least 4 out of 5 topics presented in the test paper. This is to help them in enhancing their knowledge and their understanding on the selected topics that we have prepared for them. And next, the test paper is to help them to uncover their English language skills specifically in comprehension and reading skills based on the 50 questions that we have prepared. This is to let them acquire their reading skills, which would enables them to use the language with the right rules and improve their pronunciation by reading the questions. And the last objective is to comprehend at least 5 questions that use text and diagrams shown in the test paper. This is because in most of our questions for our test paper, we use diagrams, text, and also graph to let them use the visuals in understanding the questions better by referring to them. So moving on to the next presenter. This is we have selected 2 questions from each of the Bloom taxonomy from 5 different topics. So moving on to the next presenter. Thank you.
So hi, Assalamualaikum, Dr. Rosli. So my name is Muhammad Fikri bin Daud. So before I move on to the question, so I will explain shortly short explanation about my question. So actually we choose Form 5, and we choose for the first one is Chapter 3, the word of spot. So as you can know, in the Bloom taxonomy, the lower level is remember. So what is remember? The definition of remember is retrieve, recall, or recognize relevant knowledge from a long-term memory. So for example, like we need to recall that dates of important events in sport in Malaysia history, or remember the athletes that give achievements in Malaysia. So move on to the first question, which is based on the statement above, choose the correct answer. So this the remember question. So basically the student need to read the statement there, and they need to choose the question based on the statement. So they have answer A, B, C, and D. So move on to the next question. And for the next question, also same as the previous one, the student need to read the diagram, read the statement, and then the student need to choose the right answer. So the both of these question is as a remember in the Bloom taxonomy, because they need to remember first and recall back. Then they can answer the question. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, so hi, Dr. Rosli. Assalamualaikum. My name is Anisa. Okay, so next is understanding. As we all know, understanding is the second level of Bloom's taxonomy, right? So it is a part of constructing meaning from oral and written messages through interpreting, classifying, and summarizing. Okay, so in this level, students give meaning to information learned. So this is the lower level of thinking according to Bloom's taxonomy. So here, we have chosen two questions for understanding in chapter 4, shopping therapy for Form 5 students. Okay, so the first question is basically the students need to interpret the meaning behind the sentences given, which means they have to understand and try to summarize on what is happening behind those words. Okay, so question 4 is about the I enjoy browsing the stores online. Okay, so the answer is B, which is I like checking out the online store to find good deals because it is summarize and restate the information in the statement given. Okay, so next is question 4, please. Okay, so for the question 4 is there are no shoplifters and so on. Okay, so the question is A, which is there is no problem of people stealing or spoiling things in an online store because it is like it does have the same meaning as the statement given, which is no shoplifters or people stealing in an online store. So that's all for understanding. Next presenter, please. Thank you.
So, afternoon, Dr. Rosli. So my name is Haqimie, and we're moving on to the next Bloom taxonomy, which is apply. And we're also choosing the Form 5 topic, which is the Chapter 9, Getting Away. So, basically, apply is the third level of the Bloom taxonomy. And it is basically using the information in situation, such like a picture or also the text. So from our question, uh, the picture shown a place to visit in South Korea, and you have to answer which are the except from the activity that can be done in the location. So the answer is violation. So for the next question, which is the picture shown the activity of Amanda and her family during holiday. So as you can see, you have to use the Bloom taxonomy, which is apply. Use the information shown that from the picture they have fun having fun playing video game with her family. So there will be a question which is the benefit or activity that can be seen except. So the answer is C. So that you can show that you can see from the picture they doesn't have any benefit or activity that the that through this the C answer. So that's all from me. Moving on.
Okay, so I will explain the fourth level in Bloom taxonomy, which is analyze. Analyze is which the students will need to draw connections between the ideas that presented. So for my topic, we have chose chapter 12, happy to help. I have chosen 2 out of 10 questions that we have provided in this topic. This includes on how students understand something given in the questions, like the graph, tables, and also conversation. So as for example, here we got the question which show us a conversation between two people about a running event. So as for example, the question is asking the student their opinion or their understanding based on their analyzation about the question, based on the short conversation that they had. So the answer is B, which is the clear objective of the run is to raise awareness. Despite the 2 others answers, which they have a bit confusing statements that confuse the students. So the students need to analyze the conversation clearly and find the correct answers that align with the conversation that they had. And next, the second question for analyze is based on the dialogues question. This is also similar, quite similar to the first question, which is based on the conversation. This is also based on conversation, a dialogue between two persons, which intended to ask the students to analyze and also to connect the ideas between what are the purpose of the conversation is actually intended to show the readers. So the answer for the question based on the dialogue, it can be concluded that C is the answer because it is clearly stated in the conversation that they are talking about the campaign and not about the cost or about the maintenance of the campaign that is happening. That's all for analyze. Moving on to the next level of Bloom taxonomy. This is under the same topic as chapter 12. Happy to help. For evaluate, evaluate is to let the students to justify or stand a certain decision or opinion of themselves. So I have chose one question from the topic, which require the students to justify whether the statement is true based on the short statement given in the box. So based on the statement, the students need to read and evaluate what is the correct answer. And the answer for this question is actually B. The shoppers can drop off any purchase from the store for donation. If you see and read carefully from the short statement, the student will be able to identify the correct answer. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, so I will moving on to the evaluate. Okay, for the evaluate, student are required to judge. Okay, to judge the situation or the facts that are given. Okay, so based on the question, students are required to find a solution based on the paragraph. Okay. The answer for this question is A, because can cause lung cancer, heart disease. Next. Next slide. Okay. Okay, last but not least, I will explain for the create, which is the most highest level in the Bloom taxonomy. I choose chapter 5, which is the environment. At this create level, learners combine the known pattern facts to create original work and also to formulate to a solution a problem. Okay, so for this create level, I will show two questions. Okay, the first question is, what would you do if you have a broken electrical at home? Okay, so basically students are require opinion. They have to apply their opinion based on the picture. The answer for this question is D, which is send it to recycle. Or maybe they have any ideas, other ideas. Okay, but for this is D. Next a question. Okay, for the last question is needs to the invention about the environment pollution. And the answer is B. Don't throw rubbish everywhere. This is because what they might to come up if they are in this situation. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
So we move on to the table of specification. So for the first chapter is chapter 3, the word of spot. We have two questions for remember in Bloom taxonomy and one question from understand, one question for apply, four question for analyze, one question for evaluate, and one question for create. And the total of number for the chapter 3, the word of spot is 10. So why we choose analyze the more question in analyze, because we believe that if we do analyze in this chapter, which is the word or spot, it will make it more interesting and fun for the student to answer the question, because they need to analyze, and in spot it's more suitable if we do this kind of question. So move on to the next one.
All right, for the next one is chapter 4, shopping therapy. They have remember 2 questions, understand 2 questions, apply 2 questions, analyze 1 question, evaluate 2 questions, and create 1 question. And the total is 10 questions. All right, so why we choose like we have repeated two questions in each level, because it is to make it easier for the students to understand the content, since it is a repeated question where the students can understand the concepts in depth. All right, that's why. Okay, next.
Okay, for the next is chapter 5, which is the environment. 1 for remember, 3 for understand, 1 for apply, 1 for analyze, 2 for evaluate, and 2 for create. So I have divided fairly based on the Bloom taxonomy, so that student can explore the question fairly. Okay, next.
So for the chapter 9, we have 10 questions. So from remember, we have 2, understand also we have 2, apply also have 2, analyze and evaluate we have 1 question, and create we have 2 questions. So basically, we put the same amount. Some of that we put same amount of the question, because it is easy for them to repeat the question, so that they can understand based from the previous question, which is example like remember, like if the question have state the question, state the answer based from the information given, so that the next question will be easier for the student, so that they can understand based from the previous question. So next.
Okay, so for the last chapter in our test paper is chapter 12, happy to help. As you can see, we have mixed the levels of Bloom taxonomy in the questions, because we wanted the students to learn and understand the topic better from different perspective and different level of thinking. And as you can see, the level of apply and create are the least number of questions that we have created, because we think that it is better for the students to understand and remember this topic, which the topic happy to help usually can be applied in their daily usage, daily life. So they would need to remember closely to their heart what are the good deeds that they could do to help others. And in total, we have 50 questions, 50 MCQ questions in our test paper. That's all from our group. Thank you, Dr. Rosli, for your time.
Thank you.